I went from getting a lot of attention and validation to getting zero attention and just rejection. Because in sales, as you know, it's a very challenging industry where you get rejected. The first year, 2 years in sales is like very difficult. And well, Nicaragua, if you know a little bit of the history, it's a country of a lot of communism and turmoil, like, political turmoil. And my grandparents, my grandpa fought in the war, the revolution in the 80s. And I'm gonna say, we don't have to do it alone. Like, I felt like I had to do things alone. And one thing that I learned is that I had to let go of that idea of I'm good, I'm okay, when I'm maybe not okay. So I learned to accept that sometimes it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to accept. And I think that's one thing that I did is I surrendered my pride to a higher power. I'm here in the US, and now I have all these resources. I mean, there's coaches and there's programs, athletic things that I can do. So I just wanted to, I was hungry. I think I was just hungry to go for more. And when I came here, I knew I was in high school and I wanted to fit in somehow. I was like, okay,
I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see $1 million every week. I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see $1 billion every week. I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire, I wanna be a billionaire. Billionaire, I wanna be a billionaire. I ain't getting no sleep till I see $1 billion every week.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Sleep is for Billionaires, the podcast. I am your host, Johnny Vegas. Now today, I got a very special guest on my show, ladies and gentlemen. You're in for a treat, so take some notes. This woman is the CEO of Boss Pro Media, which is a marketing agency. She's going to tell us more about that, more about her journey, more about her life. You guys are going to get to know DEYRA CORRALES today. DEYRA, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor being here. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, life is good. Can't complain. Every day above ground is a good day. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of wars, a lot of, just bad things happening to our people. And, I'm just grateful every time I wake up. I thank God so hard that he's keeping me alive another day, which means I still got work to do. And I'm sure you feel the same way, right?
Yes. It's a blessing just being alive, today in this crazy world that we live in. So many things to be grateful for.
1000%. And speaking of being grateful for things, I was actually I was reading your bio, and you have an amazing story, and you overcame a lot, and I think it's super motivational. And once people get wind of your story, I think you're gonna touch so many lives, and you're gonna give a lot of more people things to be grateful for as well. So, I want to do things a little bit different today, ladies and gentlemen. I typically do a Q&A and a conversation amongst colleagues with my guests. But, this woman has such an impactful story. I want to go ahead and read her bio to you. And throughout as we continue the reading session, I'm going to ask her a few questions about, different points in her life and how she felt and, how she overcame certain things. So we're just going to get started with that. So let's go ahead. The story of DEYRA CORRALES begins in the Central American country of Nicaragua, where she spent the vast majority of her childhood. Due to the turmoil and the unstable state of the country, however, her family made a difficult decision to leave everything behind in pursuit of a better life in the United States. At only 12 years old, unfamiliar with the language or culture, DEYRA and her family began a new chapter of life in San Bernardino, California. This would prove through time to be one of many hardships that would arise DEYRA in the future. Now, let's talk about Nicaragua. It says there was an unstable state of the country that you were actually living through and seeing with your own eyes. So can you walk us through that and give us a picture of what that looked like for you?
Well, Nicaragua, if you know a little bit of the history, it's a country of a lot of communism and turmoil, like, political turmoil. And my grandparents, my grandpa fought in the war, the revolution in the 80s. And my family, my mom specifically, dealt with a lot of that, the war.
Mm.
I mean, they lived through a war. I was born right after the war had ended. I was born, and just living through the uncertainty of the country, the oppression that the country faces, and even till this day, there's a lot of oppression. People can't really speak their minds about what they believe in, what they want to do. There's no freedom. I mean, politically, it's a very oppressed country, just like Cuba, very communist. And that was just very challenging for my family. And so my grandparents moved to the United States, and my mom followed and moved right after to come for a better life. They wanted to, find freedom here in the US, and I am very grateful that it was a challenging time. I mean, I'm sure for my parents it was even more challenging than for me, because at least when I came here, I got the support of my grandma and my grandpa that were all here. So it was just a lot of growth, and coming to a place where you don't speak the language wasn't an easy thing for me. I was at an age, I was a teenager at the time, so I was at an age where I was still getting to know myself. I had friends, I had to leave all my friends from school, I had to come to a new country. It was just a lot of challenges, and it was the culture shock for me. Culture shock. I mean, I wish I had more time to tell you all my stories from Nicaragua, but I did not have a locker. I mean, in Nicaragua, people don't have locker rooms where they lock their stuff during their meals. I would hang my uniform on a tree, and all these ants would get on the tree. I would get on the uniform, and I would have to shake it off, and it was chaos, very chaotic. Even
Mm.
there's no such thing as standing in line to order your food.
Yeah.
As a kid, we had to push our way through to order a meal at lunch.
Yeah.
So coming to the US for me, just standing in line and waiting for a meal was like a big shock. Oh my God, do I get to follow rules here? Because unfortunately, I don't want to speak bad about my country, because I know there's great things and everything, but it's very chaotic. It's a third world country, and coming to the US, to a place where you follow rules, where there's this structure, and I got help when I came here from teachers that taught me how to speak English. I felt the support coming here. So I'm just grateful, for that challenge, because today I am who I am because I went with. It was hard. It was adjusting.
Nah, I hear you, man. I mean, the things we go through make us who we are today, and the fact that you're still alive to talk about it is something we have to be grateful for in general. You know what I'm saying? Because, you living this story allows you to motivate someone else, you know what I'm saying, with their own story. You know what I'm saying? I know they have to just kind of got to look at the glass half full, not half empty, and really just continue to strive forward, so I could definitely appreciate that. Okay. So now let's move on in the bio. So now, though this was a major change, it did not break DEYRA's spirit. On the contrary, it implored her to dream larger and set goals that seemed impossible before. In high school, DEYRA became adamant on not only flourishing in her studies, but also immersing herself in the athletic programs. Eventually, her determination and drive played a critical role in leading the girls' soccer team of Cajun High School to win the state championship. During that time, however, another hurdle arose. At 15 years old, her parents divorced, leaving DEYRA with the burden of having to overcome it all. Nevertheless, she knew that her focus needed to stay on working hard to have a better future. persistent on moving forward and setting new goals and aspirations for herself. DEYRA began the early stages of her modeling career after high school. She soon found herself modeling in campaigns for Monster Energy, Tecate, Budweiser, and other notable brands. Meanwhile, she was starring in commercials and appearing on television shows. So that's wonderful. I can tell that, your athleticism, gave you a sense of drive, of courage, and just willingness to succeed, and through that journey, it led you into television shows and commercials. And being that we're in California, I mean, you can slip, fall, and roll into a commercial, so why not take the opportunity, especially when you got the looks to do it. So tell us about that journey, what led you into the commercial world and the entertainment side of things.
Yeah, I wanted to touch a little bit on the divorce of my parents, because that was
Yes,
such
and
a
that as well. And that as well. Yes, I'm sorry to
yeah.
skip over that. Sorry.
No. I feel like the divorce of my parents was just such a breaking point in my life, even though I did not know it at the time. I was just trying to cope, honestly. As a young girl, as a young woman, I'm coming to the US, new country, new culture, new friends. I just knew I needed to. My mom taught me how to be a go-getter, go after your dreams, hardworking. So I always wanted to aspire for more. I was like, I came from this country where there was not a lot of opportunities, very limited resources, and I'm here in the US, and now I have all these resources. I mean, there's coaches and there's programs, athletic things that I can do. So I just wanted to, I was hungry. I think I was just hungry to go for more. And when I came here, I knew I was in high school and I wanted to fit in somehow. I was like, okay, I'm an immigrant. I don't know the language. Like, if I on a soccer team, a athletic team, I will feel like I'm a part of something. So for me, and I was very athletic. I was actually very I had a lot of energy as a young girl. Like, I just wanted to run, and I love soccer because it was such a competitive sport, and it was like, I could just go for it and aggressive. And I had that aggressiveness in me when I was young. So I just felt like soccer was a thing for me. And I got into it, and I surprisingly was the most improved player. And I scored a bunch of goals. I actually ended up in varsity, and we ended up going to CIF, which is like a big deal here in California. Surprisingly. And I feel like what got me there wasn't like my skills, it was just the hunger that I wanted to be better and get better and put in the work. And I feel like that's kind of what happened. I think that the divorce really, I didn't know, like I said, what I was going through, but I wanted to be better. I wanted to grow, and I wanted to become someone that had something good to offer to the world. And same thing with the commercials. I did the soccer thing because I was very aggressive, but I had that girly side in me that was like, I want to be like pretty, and I had the looks. And at the time, I didn't really accept myself 100% how I looked. But somehow one of my uncles heard a commercial on the radio that there was this school that was offering singing lessons and dancing and acting and modeling lessons, and for like a cheap rate. I think it was like $500 a month or something.
Yeah.
And he mentioned it to me, and I said, you know what? I want to do this. And since I can remember 5 years old, I like microphones. I always wanted to be in front of the camera and talk to the camera and sing and dance. That was just something that I always loved. So I said, you know what, why not? Let me try it. And I got into the academy. Okay. And I enjoyed it so much that led me to the commercial entertainment industry. And they saw the potential in me. They said, you know what, you do have the looks, whatever. I did not know what I was doing, to be honest. I was just doing something. I was like, I just need to be I need to go for my dreams. I don't even know what my dreams are, but I'm just gonna go do something. Right. And I was just doing the next indicated action. And I got into the commercials, and I opened up. I started meeting people and liking the entertainment industry. And I fell in love with it. And the soccer thing was just a high school thing. I didn't make it to college soccer, but it taught me a lot of determination.
the next goal. We just see that as the goal, right? But the goal could have been from the gate just capturing all the keys. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, just capturing all the jewels that we were supposed to learn and all the lessons we were supposed to learn from that endeavor as well. So yeah, so that's cool. So let's continue on. Let's continue on with the story from where we left off. Hey guys. Hey. All right. Now, from an outsider's point of view, everything seemed perfect, inevitable even. Her beauty, her drive, her flourishing career. But inside, DEYRA was fighting to overcome another major obstacle. The adventurous lifestyle of being a model brought with itself countless occasions to let loose. What seemed controllable at one point quickly spiraled into a deep abyss. DEYRA found herself becoming more and more addicted to alcohol. The struggles of addiction were stopping her from reaching her full potential, and she was well aware of it. Determined to overcome yet another hardship, DEYRA put herself through rehabilitation. The struggles of addiction throughout time were becoming easier to conquer. Instead of dwelling in the past, she quickly began a new chapter in her life with the newly acquired knowledge of struggling with addiction. So that's heavy. That's really heavy, man, because, I got some family members back in New York, been struggling with addiction for the past 20 years, and they're still holding on to the past. They're still in the same building I left them in, still doing the same things, and thank God they're still alive. So I feel like there's hope for them. But at the same time, if they had a different mindset, they could control, their urges and control the addiction and not actually make it an addiction and just kind of put it away, and just move forward with their life. And not too many people are that strong to do that. So, I want to kind of go into that moment with you where you started seeing, because I noticed in this bio that where you said, and she was aware of it. That's really key for me, because not too many people are aware of it. So they don't really become aware until it's too late. 20 years done passed, their life done passed them by, they're broke, they're homeless, all that stuff. So you kind of caught it at a good point where you can make a turnaround, right? And turn a negative to a positive. So let's start from that point. At what point throughout that, addiction, or at least the lifestyle, where you figured out like, hey, hold on, I'm doing too much?
You're right. I think being aware of it was a big thing that helped me catch it at a good time, or get a hold of it on a decent time before my life was completely tear down. Because addiction is such a beast. It really destroys people's lives. So what happened is, the modeling and all of that got me into this like mode of like always wanting to prove other people. It became about other people more than it became about me. Somewhere along the line, I lost track of myself. I think in the pursuit of like, let me find something to do, let me get myself busy with things to do, I kind of lost myself in that. And it wasn't about me anymore. It was about other people, making sure other people that I look good outside, that things look perfectly on the outside. I was a perfectionist. I'm more than a recovering addict. I'm more a recovering perfectionist, because I wanted everything to look perfect on the outside, and I didn't want anybody to know if I was struggling. Like I was like, I got this. My pride, my ego was so big that I was like, I got this. I don't need help. I'm okay. So I think one thing that I am grateful for is my curiosity, because I think as a young girl, I've always been very curious. I always was observing of things around me. And I think that curiosity got me ahead of things. Like I saw things coming before they happened. It was like I was very aware of things that were going on around me. And I always knew that I could suffer from this disease because with alcoholism, because my dad and my mom, I come from a dysfunctional home. My parents got divorced. And so I always knew that there was something that could happen there. And I just started letting myself go in terms of like, okay, I'm just going to do what other people want. I'm going to put myself on the side. And I started using alcohol as a way to cope too. Coping with my internal challenges. So instead of me focusing on what's going on with me, what's going on inside, I was just using the drug, right, as a way to like cope with my feelings for a while. At first it was fun, all games, fun and games, and then it's fun with problems, and there was problems. And then when it became problems, thank God I had that. Thank God I had the awareness to say, you know what, this is really taking me down the wrong path. I need to put a stop to it. And I'm gonna say, we don't have to do it alone. Like, I felt like I had to do things alone. And one thing that I learned is that I had to let go of that idea of I'm good, I'm okay, when I'm maybe not okay. So I learned to accept that sometimes it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to accept. And I think that's one thing that I did is I surrendered my pride to a higher power, something greater than myself, that was gonna do it for me, that was gonna help me. And there's a lot of resources in these days for people that suffer with addiction. So I hung on to that, you know. I always wanted to use the resources, just like I did when I was young. I was like, let me use my coach, let me use my whatever. So I was always trying to get ahead. And sometimes getting ahead, it's the best thing we can do, but it's also challenging, you know, because we're going into depths and places where we've never been, we're new to it. So we have to just have support around us and not think that we can do it all alone. So thank God I am recovered and I overcame that addiction thanks to I can give credit to support around me. So going to your question on how that was for me, it was very painful. It's very difficult to face something like that. And I know there's a lot of people that may be listening, or people that are out there that are in silence. We're suffering in silence. I suffered in silence for too long, only because I wanted to show people that I was strong. I didn't want to show that I felt like it was a sign of weakness if I said I needed help. So thank God I caught it at a good time, and I was able to recover from that and maintain, because also nothing in this life is forever, and we have to always keep working at keeping ourselves healthy, just like we go to the gym and exercise, or just like we eat and drink water every day. We have to also work on the things that we need to work on, you know, that we don't think we have to sometimes. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know if that
you answered it perfectly. You know, health is wealth, and that's really what it is. Health is wealth. You know, we got to take care of ourselves. You know, sometimes we lead these busy lives where we think we have so much going on, but nothing get accomplished unless we take care of ourselves. You know, so it starts with us. You know, and when you're battling addiction, on top of everything you have going on, you know, it just gets that much harder. But, you know, you said it best, you know, you released your energy to a higher power, something bigger than you, and believe that energy can help you, you know. And for some people, it could be God, it could be Allah, it could be, you know, a friend, a family member, whatever. But, you know, you definitely have to seek that help and that guidance, and just swallow your pride, you know, and everything will be, and believe everything will be all right. And that's really what it is, you know. It's that simple.
Swallow your pride.
Yeah, it's that
swallow your pride is a big one, which is not easy to do. Very difficult.
It's hard. It's very difficult, you know, and it takes time, and it takes growth, and it takes, you know, being around nothing but positive energy and people, you know, having those influences around you that you see swallow their pride, and you see how their life excels by just, you know, not only surrendering, but just taking their life a little bit more seriously, you know. And I think that plays a key role. You know, for me, it was always being around the right people. You know, you're around 10 rich people, you're most likely, 9 rich people, you're most likely going to be the 10th one. So, you know, it works the same way on the opposite end, you know, in my opinion. But but okay, let's proceed. So, DEYRA, ambitious attitude kept pushing her forward through the obstacles and eventually led her to attend Cal State Fullerton. Congratulations on that. Now, where she would major in marketing and communications. After accumulating a vast knowledge of curriculum, she was destined to pave a new career path for herself. She soon fulfilled the position of account executive at Liberman Broadcasting Corporation, where in only a matter of a year, she amassed 500,000 worth of media sales. Woohoo! Now, her relentlessness continued into her new position at the Spanish Broadcasting System. And in her 4-year tenure at the firm, DEYRA was able to generate over 1.7 million in media sales. These massive successes became proof that she was more than capable of being her own venture. Thus, Boss Pro Media was born, a results-driven marketing ad agency that produces and distributes multimedia campaigns for businesses and brands. Throughout the years of operation, her company generated over 1.3 million in media sales and is on track to double that amount. That is so fantastic. Hold on, let me keep going. This is getting better and better. Having gone through the carousel of troubles and successes in life, DEYRA's passion has become sharing her knowledge of her life and business acumen with entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs and determined individuals. She takes joy in iterating the importance of overcoming obstacles and foreseeing a brighter future. Thus, on the time that she has to spare, DEYRA volunteers to travel and give guidance to women with addiction, making it her lifelong goal. From a small town in Nicaragua to a bustling city of Beverly Hills, the story of DEYRA Corrales is one to inspire and one that inspires. That is amazing. Nothing short of amazing, woman. You are a phenom, and I'm so proud of you. I don't even know you, but I'm proud of you because you're making women look good. So let's go into where Boss Pro Media was born. Let's talk about that. You know, you went to school for communications, you killed it in the sales department, but now you knew you were bigger than the job you were working for. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, from the modeling, all of that, I always knew I was bigger. I wanted to do something more than just being a model, right? I kind of outgrew it, and I wanted to, help other businesses and people. And I went to school and landed the job, and it was the most challenging job that I ever had. I went from getting a lot of attention and validation to getting zero attention and just rejection, because in sales, as you know, it's a very challenging industry where you get rejected. The first year, 2 years in sales is like very difficult. And I did not know, again, I was just like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to challenge myself, which I've done in the past, and had no idea that this was going to be such a challenge. And you know what? I don't go back. I mean, I made the decision to get this job. I did, and learned so much from all my mentors, from my managers. I was broken. I mean, I broke at that job. Just the rejection, the amount of rejection, the amount of persistence and perseverance that it requires to make it in sales, to get to a point where you don't run, because it's so easy to just give up. It's so easy to say, you know what, this is too hard. And I kept going. I would cry sometimes. I would go home and cry because I wouldn't sell anything. That was my first 6 months to a year, until something clicked one day, and I said, you know what, I need to know my worth. I need to learn my product, love my product, my service, and love myself. And I listened from my mentors, and I had a shift, where everything just clicked. And I started like just selling, like easier.
Mm.
For some reason, things just shifted. It went from I don't sell anything, I'm a piece of crap, I don't know what I'm doing, to like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. And I started selling local businesses on media sales for radio. And they just wanted me in their offices. They were like, come on in. I think the attitude really made a difference, because if you bring good attitude to a business, everything just works out, you know? Everything falls into place. I did not even have to try to get the sale, because all I did was like smile at my customer, treat my customer right, understand my customer, educate them, my clients, right? And they felt comfortable signing the checks, comfortable signing the contracts. And I just became number one local sales rep in LA. And I said, you know what? I had a little challenge there at the office where it's an industry that is very, very competitive. And there's a lot, I don't know if this is good to say on air, but it's a lot of hostility in that environment sometimes. In sales, it could be very competitive, very cutthroat. It's a very cutthroat business. So I felt attacked in many ways, and I felt like I was being a little underappreciated for all stuff that I was doing and the things I was bringing to the table. I was not being appreciated the way I wanted to be treated. That when I had a realization that I needed to go on my own, branch out on my own. And I said, I'm working really hard for this company, making them so much money. I want freedom though. I don't want to feel like I have to be on a 9 to 5, or I don't want to drive, because I would drive like 3 hours a day. It was like a 20-30 hour week that I would drive commuting in LA. And I was just tired of being in the car, being undervalued. And it drove me, it just pushed me to, and this just goes to show that challenges really pushes us to be better. Either it breaks us or it makes us. Like, we have to make a decision. So I made a decision to say, you know what, I can do this on my own. Let me learn the ins and outs. Let me learn the business really well. And then I'm going to do my own thing and give it a shot. And thank God, you know, I had the inspiration and the motivation to do it. And within less than a month of my business, I had my first client, $500,000 client that booked a lot of media with me, and till this day they're still my client after 4 years. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for the motivation and the courage that I had, because I was like, even me right now, I'm like, I don't know if I would do that now. Today it's pretty ballsy to do that, you know, what I did, just like jumping and saying, you know what, I'm leaving the 1.7 million that's on the books and I'm gonna go on my own, and with $0 and not have a clue what I'm doing. I took a big leap of faith and risked a lot. And thank God it worked out, you know. And if it didn't work out, we have to always be okay with the results. We do the work and the results, you know, we have to be okay and just find another path, you know. But I'm very grateful that I'm here in Bus Media. It's my baby. I've had it for 4 years. And it's growing, and it's been very challenging. As you know, having your own business is a lot of work, but I'm very proud of it.
That's beautiful. You should be. Like I said, this story's been, when I was reading it last night, I was just like, oh my God, like this is amazing. She overcame a lot, and you're so young, and it's like, and you're still going, you know. It's just like, it's very motivational. That's why I decided to kind of, you know, utilize this structure today with reading your bio and asking you questions along the way, because people need to know this. And I hope people that are watching this episode, you know, really, you know, come in tune with what this woman had to overcome, you know, and everything she went through, and the mindset she had to keep in order to get to where she's at today. So I hope that reflects to everyone watching, and you know, hopefully you guys will do the same thing, you know. So cheers to that. So DEYRA, tell the world where they can follow you, where they can communicate with you, where they can buy some media from Boss Pro Media. Tell the world now.
So you can follow me on my Instagram. I'm always hanging out on Instagram. There's too many apps these days and I can't keep up. So Instagram is the way to go, at DEYRA_Corrales. Message me, DM me, and introduce yourself. I'd like to meet you and know what business you own. I also do a lot of trainings and consulting with businesses to help them grow and sell more, achieve their goals. So I like to get to know you. Yeah, if I think, you know, we're here to build relationships. At the end of the day, I'm not here to just make a sale. And that's really, for me, one thing in sales that I learned was it's all about getting to know the client, getting to know your friends, people, getting to know people, you know, because at the end of the day, we all have businesses, but there's a story behind every business. And never wanted to make it transactional. So um, you can put my information on there, but Instagram is the easy way to reach out to me.
Mm, that's beautiful. I actually just followed you on Instagram now and sent you a message so you know it's me. Oh man, but DEYRA, listen, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Shout out to Barbara Sanchez for connecting us. I love you, Barbara. Oh man, listen, I just want to say thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for sharing your story with us today. And I wish you much success with everything you have going on. God bless you. And yeah, this has been another episode of Sleep is for Billionaires, a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you follow Miss DEYRA Corrales. Make sure you stay tuned for more episodes to come. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.